So in previous videos, we talked about kindness, having faith in people. And then how about opening up to others? When do we actually become vulnerable and share who we are with others? And this is a huge deal, because if we've never felt safe to be ourselves and be open, then it's a really new thing to figure out. So the first place to start is to recognize the walls that you may have inside and realize that they were important at a time. It was important to have walls. It was important to not be vulnerable because it wasn't safe. So you just sort of observe that and go, okay, I've got some walls. Maybe you recognize that you have bigger walls with that person than that person. That's interesting. Sometimes if we've been hurt, we tell ourselves things like, well, I'm just a really private person, or my business is my business. And it's true that some people are more private and some people are more public. But if it causes a disconnect and it causes you to be alone and to be lonely, then it's important to notice that, maybe I need to look at that. Maybe that was an adaptation to something in my past. So the first thing to do is to notice if there's anyone around you who is safe. The likelihood is that there is. There's people around you who are safe to open up with. And I don't mean you have to share things that nobody wants to know about. I just mean that you can be you, that you can be honest. If you're having a bad day, you can talk about it. If you're upset, you can talk about it. You can ask, say, I'm really struggling with something. Do you mind? Could we get coffee? And just being open. To be safe for someone means that they can be totally honest with you and you have no judgment in your heart. A safe person knows that we're all trying our best and that we're all struggling and we all have stuff. And sometimes we just need to have someone to talk to about it. And it's not about fixing them. It's literally about, some people call it holding space. But it's really just about having a loving ear to listen. A safe person is very aware of their own shadow. They're the parts of themselves that they don't want to look at, they wish weren't there. The important thing about this is that when you share parts of yourself that you can't look at, they'll be aware of their own, so they'll have understanding for yours. If they haven't done their own work, if they have things about themselves they hide, then if you start to share, they'll probably try to fix you because they won't understand that we all have that and it's okay. So just be aware. So is there anyone in your life that you do feel safe with? It could be a friend. It could be an aunt or an uncle. It could be your partner. It could be a sibling. It could be someone at work. It could be anyone. The key is that this person you already feel completely comfortable sharing things with that you just don't share with other people. And if this person hasn't appeared in your life, if this hasn't happened, then just watch and see who appears, because they'll appear soon. So then the question is, are you safe for others? Because when you become safe for others, other safe people will appear. So if you find out something personal about someone, if they tell you or someone else tells you, what happens in your mind? Do you go instantly to judgment? Do you go instantly into telling stories about them? The challenge with being vulnerable is sometimes it's hard to trust others. Maybe our trust has been broken. Maybe things we've shared with people have been used against us. The key is that in the end, when we become really strong ourselves, when we become safe for ourselves, when we have that deep divine connection within, we can't be vulnerable anymore. We can share whatever we want, and people can judge us or think whatever they want, and that's okay. We also recognize that it has nothing to do with us, but this also is a lifelong journey, I've found. I remember when I had my first newspaper column about 15 years ago. A neighbor had listened to me ranting about women and how we deserved equality, And he looked at me and he said, you know what? People need to hear what you have to say. I have a friend who's the editor for a local newspaper, and you should be a guest columnist. So half of me was like, oh, that'd be so cool. And the other half of me was terrified. If I wrote a column in the paper, every farmer within 100 kilometers would read it, and they would have an opinion, and then they would discuss it over coffee. And they might not like it, or they may think I'm dumb, or they may think all kinds of things. And this tormented me. And I really had to go away and think about this a lot, whether I could handle having all these people have all these opinions about me. Why did I care so much about what a bunch of strangers thought of me? Was I writing the articles to make people like me? Did I need their approval for my own self-worth? In the end, I did write as a guest columnist for that paper. And a year later, I had my own column in another town's newspaper. And then later, when I wrote my book, What If You Could Skip the Cancer, that was another whole hurdle, because now this was a book. It wasn't just a little newspaper column in the middle of rural Ontario. This was now a book that could be read worldwide. And it was about alternative healing and intuitive healing and God. And I was risking really pissing off a lot of people. And that was a real challenge for me. But I found the inner strength to say, well, there's people I really want to write this for, and if other people don't like it, that's okay. They don't have to read it, or they can be angry, and I'm okay with that. And then when I began teaching tantra, I actually asked my children, like, are you okay with this? Because people may talk, people may think that, I'm having orgies every weekend, or they may question what I do sexually, or, people get all kinds of ideas. My kids thought it was awesome. They were like, Mom, go for it. This is awesome, But I still had to really address this issue of what are other people going to think, and what does their judgment matter? In the end, it really came down for me knowing that what I was doing was right for me in that moment. If someone reads something I write and it makes them angry, well, then that's good. And if it warms their heart, then that's good. I trust this. And I also trust that other people are also doing whatever it is they're called to do in that moment. And that changes everything.